I believe that real estate investing is a skill. Because I believe it is a skill, I think it is something we can all learn and all get better at. You've heard me refer to this young man as the best real estate investor in Fresno, California, my home area. And I wanted to see if he agrees or disagrees. The one and only Jason Pritchard. How you doing, sir?
I am doing great. Zuber, how are you?
I'm doing well. So I got to ask, you're the best of the best in my home market. Been there 21 years. You
Thank you.
started in the last, I don't know, 8, 9, 10 years.
Yep.
So I got to ask, were you born with just this special gift to be a great real estate investor, or have you learned like the rest of us?
This is a great topic for discussion and something I think about a lot. I am definitely on the side of real estate investing can be a learned skill that you can acquire over time with a lot of hard work, patience, and perseverance. So I definitely think anybody can do it as long as they're willing to, like you say, do the work.
So let's dig into that. So we both agree it's a skill. We both believe you can learn it, and by happenstance, we're both getting better at it. I don't know about you. I'm willing to admit I'm a better real estate investor today than I was
100%.
last year and
Yep.
the year before, especially as we go through changing markets, right? You've been through a couple, I've been through half a dozen changing markets. And that's what allows us to kind of see around the corner and see what we don't know. If you're on my channel, you know that I highlighted 2 weaknesses in my tool belt probably 6 or 9 months ago. One was big stuff, 200, 300, 400 units. Lots of people have come to me saying, hey, I want to invest with you, do a syndication. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. But I went to an event just to see, maybe I'm missing something. The answer is I'm not going to do that. And then 2, really the creative aspects, right? Creative financing to me to date has been seller financing, me negotiating with, a seller. But
Same
there's
here.
a lot of other things, and I'm weak there. So I need to learn. So I think we're all learning, I guess is the point. So are you a better investor this year than last year?
I am 100%. And I think a lot of times people talk about superpowers, and I don't want to like overstate this ability of mine. But one of the things that I think I do very well is I am in year 9 going on year 10 right now. And I never think that I've learned it all. And I go into every single situation with just a blank slate, try to approach it with humility. And I don't try to be the smartest guy in the room ever. And I think that's been something that has helped me a lot. I think we can always learn. And I'm the same as you, Zuber. I'm learning and getting better and evolving every single day. And I'm a better investor now than I was, obviously, when I first started.
And again, you're going to be better tomorrow, next year,
That's right.
than you are today. So
Yep.
let's talk about us for a minute, and then we'll get to everyone starting. I know you're investing in mentorship groups. You are getting in rooms where you are not the biggest fish, right? If you stayed in Fresno, California, you're the best of the best. Who are you going to really rub shoulders with and go? And yes, there are some people we both know that
Yeah.
you can glean from.
I get
but
what you mean. Yeah.
it's. I don't mean to be disrespectful, but you've got to get in bigger rooms with bigger folks doing different things. And
That's right.
Jason, dude, you pay to be uncomfortable. What is that all
Absolutely.
about?
Yeah. I think for me, I stunted my growth actually, Zuber, in years, I'd call it 3, 4, and 5, because when I started, I didn't really have the money to pay for any coaching or mentorship. So I just learned everything on my own. And I went on YouTube University and all the podcasts and all the things that, people kind of start when they do the self-education process at the beginning. And I found success. And because I was able to figure it out on my own, it took me longer than I think it should have to realize paying for access to those rooms, right, can speed the whole process up. And so that's really, my business is really 2 or 3x from year 5 or 6 to now, because, I put myself in these rooms. And then most importantly, I took the stuff that I was learning and I applied it in my business. And so I think you have to be very careful when you're doing stuff like that, because, I know we're going to talk about this in a later video. Not everything is as it seems in this real estate business, right? So make sure those rooms that you're paying for are full of legitimate operators that not only are legitimate, but are not there just to have a chest thumping contest, right? It's not about competition. They're really there to share the information and really show you what's working and pull the curtain back and help you lift you up. But those are the things that really help me. But before, the caveat to that is I learned the skill of networking in my home market first before I jumped into that. So I think you can also pull that trigger too soon and think that just because you're paying to be in those rooms, it's some kind of shortcut. And it's just like anything else, that it isn't really a shortcut like that. Nobody in those rooms are going to do anything for you. So I think you can get really great at networking in your hometown. And then once you've, got a really good, solid, established network there, then you can look at maybe expanding that out on a national level.
Yeah, it's really funny because we suffered kind of similar challenges in the beginning, right? My first couple of 3 years, probably 3 or 4 years, I tried to do everything myself, right?
Same.
And I
Yep.
admittedly thought the answer lived in an Excel spreadsheet. I mean, I wish I still had it. I deleted it out of sheer disgust. My first kind of, actually my 10th iteration of my first deal spreadsheet was multiple worksheets, had all the yearly calculations, depreciation and mortgage. It was just, I got lost in the spreadsheet because I was
Yeah.
convinced if I was comfortable and I just made this, I don't know, Swiss Army knife, it would do me well. And now if you look at my spreadsheet, it's just remarkably simple because it's not the
Yep.
spreadsheet. It's a buy box. It's the discipline. It is absolutely the network. So I agree with all of that. So now let's step back. You and I coach people. You and I have been helping people for years. Let's take a brand new newbie that gets us cornered somewhere for 10 minutes.
Mhm.
What do you want to kind of tell them? And let's just assume they're at the very beginning. They're excited. They're vibrating. How do you get them started on the right path? What's the first thing Jason says? Maybe we'll play ping pong. We'll go back and forth 2 or 3 times.
First thing that I say is I get this question a lot, and here's how I answer it. If I were starting all over again, knowing everything that I know now, but no resources, no network, no connection, no money, anything like that, the first thing that I would do is spend all my time, effort, and energy on learning how to find good deals. So for me, that looks like this, right? We need to understand what a motivated seller is. We need to understand how we get in front of as many of those motivated sellers as possible, right? We need to understand how to qualify a motivated seller, right? To make sure that, we're talking to people that are going to be interested in selling, then learn how to run your deals, learn how to make offers, and then just rinse and repeat that process over and over and over and over and over again. I think you call it, understanding your buy box and doing your work. And I think we're on kind of the same page, right? For me, it's just been about finding deals. If you can learn how to find good deals, all the other things that people like to jump around to, the money, the contractors, all those things will take care of
Yeah.
themselves. Let's just get blinders on and laser focused on that. That's my advice.
Yeah, I love it. I'm just going to tweak it slightly so we don't just sound like we're repeating each other.
Sure.
My talking to that person in front of me, my goal of the buy box kind of attitude is I want you to understand what an average deal is. Because again, I go back to Mike Zuber in 2001, where my only access was realtor.com.
Mm-hmm.
So I was only looking at on market things. So that, when you have a buy box that's that kind of, I didn't know what driving for dollars or, mailers or door knocking, any of that stuff was. I was likely in a different country doing these searches. So what I want people to realize in the beginning is you need to spend at least 90 days just to figure out what an average deal is. And once you know average and you can confidently tell myself or Jason or whoever what average is, then the light bulb should go off and go, if average is 6.5% yield, I should go get 8 or 9. That's the kind of evolution, right? Goal number one is not finding a great deal, because in the beginning, you'll lie to yourself. The spreadsheet will do something weird and it'll just be average, right? When you look at 117 different properties and average is 6, now you have some. That's where it really starts for me.
I love that. And it because it gives you a frame of reference, right? Because it's like, okay, great deal. What's a great deal? Right. And then if you don't even understand what that is, you're shooting for targets that can be all over the place. You could be looking at high-end properties and you think because there's this big spread that this is a great deal, when there's really all these major red flags that are there, and it's just looking at the numbers, right? So yeah, I think I agree. Having clarity of what a great deal is before you start looking for it, I think is a great point.
Awesome. What's the next point? You got one more kind of tidbit to give them before they run off, or you run off to your next speaking engagement. What are you going to give them?
The biggest thing that you have to learn and understand, guys, is that there is a process to this, and this process requires patience. And you cannot, right, plant a seed in the ground today, wake up the next morning and dig it up to see if something has grown. It doesn't work like that, right? And real estate investing, people I've never been involved in anything where people will work for 30 days and they'll come back to me and be like, hey, I haven't bought a house yet. Am I doing something wrong? And it's mind boggling. Honestly, it's just, it's really, you have to, the second piece of advice is you have to practice patience, and you have to be in love with the process and understand what all these progress points are. Obviously, the outcome that we want is a deal that we can monetize and make money, but there's all these progress points along the way before we hit that outcome. And as long as we're moving down that path at a reasonable pace, then we're fine. And a reasonable pace is defined as how much time, effort, and energy you're putting in. So if you're not working a W-2 job and you have all day to do this, then a reasonable pace may be faster than somebody like Zuber, who was working all day, right? And doing this on nights and weekend, then it may take longer, right? But I think you got to give it, I just tell everybody at the beginning, you got to give it a year. If you're serious about this and you really want to do it, create a game plan, give it a year, put your head down, and don't look up and check the score of the game when it's Monday's practice. The game is on Sunday. You're still Monday morning practice, guys. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like, you stretched out yet.
Yeah, you're still warming up here. So yeah, you gotta just realize that it's going to take a little time and exercise some patience.
Oh, it's so funny. We both went to kind of the same area. What I want the newbie to, like, my parting thought is, don't celebrate getting a deal. Celebrate writing your first great offer.
That's right.
That's the celebration. It is hard to write a great offer. And again, let's be clear. In today's market, that great offer might be 20% below list price. A lot of you are afraid to do that. I ain't afraid to do that. If my spreadsheet says the property is listed at $299 and I got to pay $245 or better, I'm writing that offer at $238 or something.
Yep, that's right.
It's just happened. So when you do the work, you have the daily discipline, you learn average, you know what great is. I want you to celebrate writing that first great offer. I don't give a rat's ass if the seller doesn't respond, the agent laughs at you, you get told to F off, whatever. Who cares?
Yep.
You did the work, you knew your numbers, and you wrote. Celebrate that. Because again, I want you to remember, in 2001, I wrote 100 offers and got nothing. I felt great about all 100. Dude, I got 2 counters out of 100 offers. Because 2021 was bananas.
We're essentially saying the same thing. I mean, it's just falling in love with that process and realizing that getting to the point where you understand what a great offer is and then writing it up is the thing to celebrate, right? Because if you can fall in love with that, the outcome is inevitable, right? Because then it's going to happen no matter what, because it's just a numbers game, just like everything else. So as long as we can write 100, whether it takes 100 or 1,000 or 5,000, people like us realize it doesn't matter. It's like, this is the process. Now let's just do the work until we get the result that we want. And that's it. Yeah.
And over the course of time, I've been doing this 21 years. Sometimes I get, I count counters because that tells me how motivated the sellers are, right? I already shared the worst, right? 0 or 2 counters out of 100. There'll be times in some markets where I get, 50 out of 100 counters, right? Doesn't that mean a deal, but at least I know where the motivation is. Jason, you put out a lot of free stuff. Your website is chock full of free stuff, which I'm shocked is still free. Won't be free forever, I'm sure. Where can people go find it?
Yeah, this is a great topic of conversation, especially for new people. If you guys go to my website, it's jasonpritchard.com. There's a link in the middle that says documents and resources. You can click on that link, and it basically has our entire business in a box. There's a 10-page blueprint on exactly how we find deals, we fund them, we manage contractors, plus all the documents and resources that my team uses on a day-to-day basis. It's up there for free. Just jump on there, download it. And if you need help with anything, feel free to reach out to me or my team.
There you go, folks. jasonpritchard.com. Go get it. You don't know how long it'll be free. Thanks, bud.
Thanks.